cleaned up at that horse show. Look at this. Blue in barrel racing, blue in cutting, blue in pole bending. That was all on Johnny Be Quick, my best horse. Second in Western Pleasure on Sandy's Pride. She's a little green yet, but definitely an up-and-comer. And all my other riders placed as well. Bending Bar Stables is tops again. I just love my quarter horses. I got 8 of them. Some people think they're my babies. Hell, these critters ain't nothing like babies. They're more like big-ass people with a whole different intelligence. My husband, Doug, says, "Why do you love them horses so much?" And I say, "I don't know, because they're powerful." And he just snorts, because to him, nothing living is as powerful as something with a motor. What I want to tell him, never would, is it's their butts. 100% U.S. grade A top choice round steak. Quarter horses have the biggest, roundest butts of all the breeds. Mounds of meaty, chunky muscle. Right there at eye level. Sometimes I just want to sink my teeth into them. Those butts are pure stored power. You swing up onto that horse and you feel that big turbocharge behind you, ready to spring into action. And then you gather the reins and that rump bunches up, starts to tremble with excitement. Well, then you tap him with your heels and woo-wee, you better hold on to your hat, girl, because he just explodes beneath you. And there you are on top of, well, I guess it's 1 horsepower. Pounding along at 40 miles an hour. Wind in your face and your heart beating like no one's business. You ride. It's almost like being with a man. Only one thing's different. You're in charge the whole time. You want him to turn? Just a flick of the rein and a shift of weight and that horse will spin on a dime and send up a rooster tail of dirt. And if you want him to stop, lean back, pull the reins, and by gosh, he stops already. No questions asked. No big fighting over it. And he's not mad at you afterwards either. A horse just stops when you say stop, unlike some people I know. Funny thing, these horses are so much bigger than us, but they'll do what we say. Sometimes when I'm leading Johnny out of his stall, I think, man, if he wanted to, he could crush me like a bug. But he never does, at least not on purpose. I mean, we've had a few spills, mostly caused by me wanting him to commit to something before he was ready. Like the time I painted one of our practice barrels pink, just for fun, and he just about fell over backwards in shock and surprise. He can't even see pink, but he knew something was different. Turns out he's just like most guys. Couldn't commit to something till he had sniffed it, looked it over forever and ever. Got his scary little mind over the change. Johnny's a big boy for an athlete. 16 hands, 1,500 pounds, and that's fighting weight. When I'm on his back, it'd be about like you carrying a little backpack with a book in it. That ain't enough to get his attention. So I add conviction to my power. The bit I use on Johnny has a bump right in the middle. When I pull back on the reins a little, that pushes against the roof of his mouth a lot. That ain't comfortable. Be about like you having a big old paperclip digging into your mouth. So he pays real good attention. He likes to do what I say because it makes his life easier. I know someone who could really use one of those. I bet you do too. But don't think he don't like being ridden. He loves it. When I walk into the barn, he bugles like it's the second coming. And you'd think I was a mare in heat, the way he pricks up his ears and arches his neck. He just flexes himself like some kind of bodybuilder. Then he clobbers the side of the stall with his hoof to tell me to quit being so slow. We got a real nice relationship, me and Johnny. I bring him lots of love treats like apple chunks and carrot slices. And spend some time stroking and buffing him before we get to work. And he'll play with me too, kind of butt me with his head, all flirty like, or swing away right as I'm about to touch his neck, kind of like playing a joke, you know. But once I get him saddled, that horse knows what to do. Johnny Be Quick clicks into business mode. No little nicey rubs now. He knows his job is to be fast and respond to every signal I give him. But truth is, we share the decisions. When we're spinning around those barrels at record speed, I don't get in his way. I just let him do his thing and make sure I don't get left behind. It's amazing merging with an animal like that. It's like you're one mind, one body. I don't know how to explain it. My husband, Doug, says, "Why do you spend so much time with that horse?" And I say, "We're a team. We got to do team building." And he just rolls his eyes and goes back to watching cars go round and round. Truth is, you gotta nurture your relationship with your horse. They're not just machines that, well, go round and round a track. They're living beings with feelings and opinions and personality. I think they make better partners than some people. I mean, at least a horse pays attention to you. Doesn't think about anything else when he's with you. My husband, Doug, says time and again that I could go faster on a motorcycle or a snow machine. Hell, I drive my car faster than any horse can run. I know there are a lot of horses in an engine, but a machine just don't compare with a real live being that cares for you and agrees to partner with you and has the strongest, most gorgeous butt you've ever seen. Hi, Ginger. Oh, you are a mess after our ride at the river. That was fun, though. You swam like a fish with just your head above water, and I was on your back practically floating off. But then you had to roll. You screwball. I should call you Mudmaker. I could brush my hair for 2 years straight and it would never glisten like yours, Ginger. Or work out to Mom's videos every day and I would never have a perfect body like you. You got born beautiful, that's for sure, Ginger. At the horse sale, everybody wanted you because you are a perfect Arabian. Your beautiful lines, your pretty little ears, and that tiny teacup muzzle. I've never seen anything so beautiful in all my life. I wish I could look this good. Who would buy me? That's what I want to know. Nobody at school. All 300 boys want to go out with the same 10 popular girls. They take one look at me and see a pimply geek and wouldn't be caught dead talking to me. The most attention I ever got at school was when Sarah Harrison, that lead cheerleader, came by and said, "Oh, you're the girl who plays with horses." And her whole little group just laughed at me. Those girls just care about buying belly shirts at the mall. I wear that stuff and I look like crap, and everybody knows it. Let's face it, I'm a dog. Here's the truth, Ginger. For a girl, looks are everything. I'm smarter than everyone else at school, but I lie about my grades now because the boys call me brainiac and hate my guts for raising the curve. Now, if I had big boobs and bright blonde hair and got lower grades than them, I'd be just fine. Hello, how about knowing trigonometry? How about being able to do stuff like win the junior jumping trials? The world isn't exactly waiting for girls like me. The Honor Society awards are tonight. I do not want to get up on stage and receive some dumb trophy. It's like wearing a sign that says, "I'm a dork, I'm a dork, I'm a dork," in front of the whole school. Oh, and I have no clue what to wear. I look like crap in everything. Maybe I'll go naked. Maybe it should be like a horse sale. All of us lined up naked in a row and people can walk by and judge us. Huh. What if you hadn't been beautiful, Ginger? Would I have bought you? If you were an ugly color or your legs were crooked? I don't know. I mean, probably not when I think about it. I mean, you have a wonderful personality, but I didn't know that when I was looking at you. I bought you because of that incredible arched neck and that sculpted, dished face. I never even looked at those sway-backed horses. That is unfair. If I were a horse, I'd have a scrawny neck and pudgy middle. As a buyer, I wouldn't look at me. I only look at the lean, fancy, perfect ones. That's sickening. It's the same thing that happens to me at school, only I'm doing it. Okay, yeah, but buying a horse is different. Maybe. I wonder what happens to the ones with Roman noses and cow hocks and short legs. What becomes of them? What will become of me? Hi, my name is Sandy Worm. People think that's funny because of what I do. I drive truck for North Edge Byproducts, so I pick up dead animals. You know, horses, cattle, donkeys, pigs, big stuff. I never would have thought of this job if it weren't for my first horse, Prince. My parents gave him to me when I was 11, and he was a 21-year-old Palomino. He pretty much taught me everything I know about horses. Yeah, but when I came home for Christmas, my first year at Mankato State, Prince was down in his stall. He couldn't get up. When he saw me, he tried and tried to get up, you know. He really wanted to show me that he could. I could see his heart beating right through his winter coat. But I could see he was never going to get up. So I called the vet, and she came over and gave Prince a shot, and I watched him die. Yeah, it was sad. He was pretty much a member of the family by then. So then, we had 1,100 pounds of dead horse in the barn. What do you do? We called our neighbor Pete. He dug a hole with his backhoe. The ground wasn't too frozen yet. But then, how do you get the horse to the hole? We bobcatted him. It wasn't pretty with him all twisted up and his legs all over, but it was pretty much the only way to move that big of an animal. My dad drove up to the edge of the hole and he said, you know, there isn't any graceful way to do this. And I said, I know. And he dumped him. That's how I knew this would be a good business. People don't realize when they get a horse that it's going to die. They kind of act surprised like it wasn't supposed to happen. And they have no idea what to do with a big dead animal in the corral or the barn or wherever it died. I make regular stops at the big hog and dairy operations because animals are dying there pretty much all the time. Those people get that it's normal. But the individual horse owner, they'll call me up and say, can you come get our dead horse before 2 o'clock so the kids don't see it when they come home from school? Nobody wants to see it or smell it or touch it. They pretty much want it whisked away. They don't realize I have 100 square mile territory. It could be 3 days before I'm in their area. Some folks are like that when people die too. Nobody wants to handle their own dead. You know, wash the body, dress it. They pretty much want it whisked away, so they call the mortician, which is pretty much my same job, only for people. And then sometimes they act like it was unfair that the person died, like they were supposed to live forever or something. Sometimes people call me, and I get there, and the horse is still alive. They must think I go around killing animals the minute they're done with them. Lots of times the horse is old and can't be used for riding and stuff. I just drive away. I pick up dead animals. I'm the only woman I know who does this, but I don't know why. It's not like your size matters. Not even the huge guys can drag a dead horse. I use the winch in the box of my truck to pull the animal into the back. Yeah, but if it died inside of a building and it's not a straight shot out the door, I can't do that. So sometimes I have to take them apart to get them out. Chainsaw does the job. It's not pretty, but I figure the horse is dead anyhow. It doesn't know the difference. Plus, it'll all get chopped up when I get to the plant anyhow. When my truck is full, I drive to North Edge Byproducts up in Rutledge Falls. All the carcasses get dumped into a big pit, and then they go through a huge grinder. It all gets used, the meat, the blood, the bone, the organs, the hooves, the hair, so you can feel pretty good about that. Then it gets boiled down and rendered into a bunch of products. The pulp goes for your dog and cat food. The fat goes to the tallow industry for soaps, hand creams, furniture oil. They don't make glue anymore from animals because it's pretty much cheaper to just use petroleum products. I don't tell people that they could be feeding their horse to their dog by next week. They really don't like to hear that. They pretty much want to think it disappears. I really like how animals are still useful after they die. I wish we did a better job with people. That's why I'm an organ donor on my driver's license, and I hope when I die, they pretty much use me up to help other people. If anything's left over, I want it cremated, and the ashes put on the ground to grow more grass for horses. There's no way I want to be pumped full of formaldehyde and turned into hazardous waste. And I hope that when I die, people get that would be a pretty normal thing for me to do. So the next time someone or something you love dies, go ahead and be sad. But don't pretend it wasn't supposed to happen. It was. Get used to it. People think I'm crazy. I've traded my car in for a horse. 10 years ago, when I bought that used Honda Civic, I pledged that it would be my last petroleum-powered vehicle. I joked that if no alternative was available, I'd have to ride a horse. Well, that car bit the dust at 301,000 miles. And the only alternative was a gas-electric hybrid, which still uses petroleum. I suppose if I were younger, I'd buy that kit where you convert your diesel engine to run on French fry oil. But, geez, oh, Pete. At 71 years old, I just decided I'm gonna do what I said I would do. So, I bought Shelby. Not that I knew a thing about horses. I was an 8th grade science teacher my whole life. But I shopped for a hay burner the same way I'd shop for a car. Low miles, dependable, has heat. Shelby qualified. She's kind of a silver gray, not your fancy sports model, but she can go forever and just refuels on whatever's growing. Now, when people ask what I drive, I say, a 95 Silver Mustang. For less money than a car, I got a horse, a buggy, tack, a fence around my 12 acres, and a simple shelter for Shelby. With the money left over, I've got vet bills covered for the rest of her life. And fuel is basically free for 5 months of the year. I'm lucky the zoning around here still allows horses. Used to be all farms and fields. Now it's eaten up by McMansions on 5-acre lots that take them all weekend to mow. Turns out, there's no law against riding your horse into town. I tie Shelby at the library bike rack, and she stands and dozes for half a day while I play bridge. People stop and pet her. She's quite a curiosity in Anoka. Sometimes motorists pull up next to us and they say, "What are you doing?" And I answer, "Errands." Confuses the heck out of them. They just seal themselves back up and drive away at 18 miles to the gallon. Of course, if I'm going a long way or have things with me, I use the buggy. Like when I visit Missy and the grandchildren out in Plymouth. It used to be an hour by car on the freeway. Now it's all day by buggy on the county roads. I enjoy the slower pace. There's a lot happening at 8 miles an hour. Plymouth is one big suburb, so it's a little odd to arrive by horse. I feel like the Pied Piper with kids on bikes following me. My grandchildren think I'm the coolest grandma because we give buggy rides to all the neighbors. I even let little Sarah drive her. When we're finished, I tie Shelby to the clothesline at Missy's and she can move back and forth grazing. I worry a little bit about the chemicals on Missy's lawn. Shelby gets a rash around her mouth every time we're there. Missy doesn't seem concerned about it. Of course, she doesn't even worry about the chemicals on her kids' vegetables. She's too busy dealing with all their allergies and asthmas. Geez, oh Pete, it's no wonder with their off-gassing carpets and processed food and bleach in the laundry. People, what are we doing to ourselves? Oh, it's so different from when I drove a car. I used to combine errands, drive less, anything to reduce the thousands of pounds of carbon emissions. But with Shelby, I go out more. Her emissions make the world better. 2 gardeners on my road are practically fighting each other for Shelby's manure. I trade it to them for the vegetables it grows. Now whenever I hear people say, "Eat shit," I think, I practically do. She's a perfect system, really. Everything about her is food for something else. She breathes out carbon dioxide, the trees breathe it in. She poops, it feeds the soil. She loses tail hair, and the chipping sparrows weave it through their nests. And when she dies, her entire body will break down into food for something else. I think about that landfill we pass about 30 miles from here. Acres piled high with car skeletons and tires and the reek of oil. Somewhere in the recent history, we humans made up the idea of waste. Now resources take a one-way trip to the landfill instead of the circular trip they've been on for billions of years. Let's take a lesson from the horse to get out of this mess we're in. Everything we buy must be food for something else, or we're not playing by nature's rules. Think about that the next time you go to Walmart. So, maybe you'll see me, if you ever get off the freeway, and your cell phone. I'm in the buggy, pulled by a dependable gray mare, leaving fertile heaps of biodegradable gold all along the way. Help yourself. Easy, girl. Easy, girl. Yeah, you don't have to brace yourself like that and roll your eyes. I know. I'm another human. You haven't had much luck with us. Yeah, twisting your ears and switching your tail. I see you're nervous, girl. Just looking for a way to get away from danger. That's smart. But we're in a round pen here. I just have to catch you so I can dress those wounds. Let's see if you'll let me come close. Come on. Okay. Yeah, I'd lash out too if I'd been through what you've gone through. No one should be beaten with the butt of a rifle. And pitchforks should be used on hay. Yeah, twisting your ears and moving all stiff and choppy. I know you're nervous, girl. But I'm still coming over. Okay. No reason to trust anyone now, girl. What did that get you? I remember seeing you 2 years ago at a show with a different owner. You were so beautiful. You still are. You still are. All right. Looks like I'm going to need to talk horse here. I'm looking you right in the eye, girl, and switching my tail here to push you away from me. I'm chasing you out of the herd, girl, just like the lead mare would do. Can't be easy to run with how bruised you are. But at least running is natural for you. Now I'll move my eyes back to your hips and let you stop. Isn't that nice to stop? Aren't I nice to let you? Some people just don't get it. They think they can force respect. So men beat up women, parents beat up kids, humans beat up animals, my country beats up your country. What do we get? A lot of pain and no respect. Time for you to run again. You're a lot like Julie before she and I got together. Spooky of everyone and everything after 10 years with George. Who can blame her? Her hands used for ashtrays, dragged behind the car for burning dinner. But she's coming around, girl, just like you will. With her, I use loving words and human touch. With you, it's all body communication. I know your language, girl. How to use my rope here like a tail. Angle my body to show you what I'm thinking. And stop. That's right, stop and breathe. They call me a horse whisperer because I can have a wild horse straight off of being caught, all peaceful under saddle in about 30 minutes. But it's so easy. You guys do all the whispering. I'm just one of the people that actually listens. Oh, there we go. Looking right at me with your ears forward. What's my next move, huh? You're kind of curious now, aren't you, girl? I'm turning away from you to show you I'm not like him, not a threat. Just inviting you to join up with me, become part of my herd, and you get to choose. I'll wait as long as it takes. It's all in your time, girl. That's right. Coming slowly over to check me out. Your body smoothing out, your head lowering, that's good. You're just like every horse, girl, either in fear or trust. No middle ground. Yeah, that's right. There's your hot breath on my hand. Good. Oh, I didn't ask for a headbutt. That's what we like to see. Your head real low, your ears flopped out, showing you're accepting my lead, trusting me as your leader. Here, I'll rub you where your mama would have licked you on the withers. Oh, it's a good scratch. You like that, huh? Wow. Those Those punctures are deeper than I thought. It's going to be a long road to healing, girl. But at least we got you away from him. A guy like that thinks a horse is just a piece of property, something he can take his anger out on. He even thinks he's training you. He is very sick, girl, and you are very well. Even though you're the one with all the injuries, you're going to be just fine. Because you never stopped being an honest horse, girl. You never tried to hurt anybody. You are beautiful and whole and good. Okay, I'm going to take a step here, see if you'll dance with me. Trust me as your leader. Yeah, you can think about it. There we go. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. Good girl. Now let's take a little walk. That's right. Following right behind me. Your body all smooth and your tail relaxed. It's nice to trust somebody, isn't it, girl? Hope. Good girl, you stop too. Hope. Look at that. You're stopping with just a vocal command. It's not a command, really. It's more of a request. You horses are so generous and willing. He didn't know you would do anything he asked if only he'd been trustworthy. All right, let's walk on back to the stable. I'll wash off that dirt and blood, put on some salve, see if we can get you comfortable. Because you are beautiful and good, girl. You always were. You still are. You still are. To come up with a whole set of dishes shaped like horses' heads. I have a black, a bay, a chestnut, a palomino. Now she's working on the Appaloosa. So every morning I have breakfast with the horses. Oh, my life is so full now that I've found horses. I just love them. I know so much about them from reading the 2,137 books in my collection. Plus, I subscribe to 13 horse magazines, even one from South Africa. Oh, I have 251 pewter horse figurines from Germany. Oh, they are so cute. I just love them. Oh, there's not really room for them all in my house anymore, so I have 50 of them on my desk at State Farm. And then I put some more on other people's desks, so it's like our office has its own herd. Oh, it's so great that the place I work has the word farm in it, right? The only way it could be better if it was called horse farm insurance. The dress code says dress professionally, right? So I dress like a professional horse person. I don't see any problem with that. Don't these new jeans make my ass look great? They think I have a horse now because Jessie asked if that horse picture on my desk was my horse, and I said, yes, right? And she said, what's its name? And I said, Mr. Twister. It just came to me. So, poof, just like that, I had a horse. So now every day I tell the office about how the trail ride went last night or how the show was last weekend, and it's just like really doing it. Now it's state fair time, and every day after work, I go straight to the horse barns and adopt a horse, right? I'd stand outside its stall and feed it treats and answer people's questions. Last night, I adopted this cute Pasofino mare named Charita, right? Oh, I just loved her. Oh, I had this whole crowd around me as I was telling all about her special smooth gait. Well, it turned out the owner was there, right? So I had to make up this thing about how I thought this was my cousin's horse, blah, 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 and she bought it, right? So then we sat and talked horses for a while, and pretty soon she handed me the halter, asked if I would put it on Charita while she went to get the grooming stuff. Well, I panicked, right? I mean, I'd never put a halter on a real horse before. It was just this tangle of webbing. Although I did notice that the Kelly green color was one that I didn't have, so I made a note to order it to hang on the wall with my collection. So I'm like, I'm out of here, right? And I dropped it in the stall and ran. I better go to a different barn tonight so I don't run into her again. I think I'm in the mood for a Clydesdale. Or maybe a Percheron. I don't know, something big and fuzzy. My boyfriend left sometime last year. He said I was too obsessed with all this horse stuff. But really, I think he got tired of us sleeping in the living room. But we had to, right? Because my books take up one whole room, the saddles and tack take up another, plus the full-size fiberglass horse that eventually I'll put in the yard once I have it fenced and a little barn built like a ranch. It was fine when he left, though, really. It gave me a lot more room for the vintage saddle blankets. Now I sleep in the kitchen on this platform of horse magazines that I haven't read yet. Well, I don't want to miss any useful articles. Oh, and my mattress is a real hay tick, so all night it smells like sweet horse hay. And my sheets have bucking broncos all over them. Oh, they are so cute, I just love them. Oh, my latest horse magazine is Miniature Horse, right? Because I want to get one and take it on walks like a dog. They are so cute and adorable. Not as dangerous and unpredictable as a full-size horse. Plus, it could live in my house. Boarding a horse would suck way too much of my money. The remodelers are at my house right now, exchanging all the doors for Dutch doors, you know, the top and bottom open separately. I know they're really stable doors. So now if someone comes to my house, I can swing open the top and hang my head out like a horse. Oh, my dream for my house is to add on this tower shaped like a horse's neck and head with motion sensor lights so when people walk by, the eyes blaze. And then if somebody rattles the door or cracks a window, smoke comes out the nostrils. I think that would scare away a burglar a lot more than some beeping alarm, don't you? Oh, I just want everyone to come to horses. I'm coming up with a workshop called The Passion of the Horse, right? It's all about all the best horse shops and how to use eBay to get the best horse stuff that most people are missing, plus horse lingo and where to go to talk to real live horse people. Oh, I really want to introduce people to these gorgeous free animals. I just love them. I used to be a slug before I learned to become a horse. Just this flabby middle-aged actuary whose biggest exercise was walking to the corner for a latte. I don't like real horses. They're big and smelly, and frankly, when you calculate mortality risk for a living, getting up on an unpredictable animal is not what I'd call smart. But way back when I was this horse-crazy little girl, I don't know why I loved horses, but something about them just spoke to me. I read all about them, drew them all the time, collected the whole Best of the West collection. I would run around the house on hands and knees. My parents couldn't talk me out of it. One day, my friend Kelly and I were playing ranch out in the yard, just running around like crazy people, when some classmates of ours walked up unbeknownst to us. Oh, and did I tell you? We were 14 at the time. Our friends couldn't believe we were playing make-believe in junior high. Kelly and I were mortified at the laughter of our classmates, some of them even cute boys who we were very eager to impress. We never played horses again. Not like we made a policy decision about it. It just didn't occur to us anymore. Eventually, I gave away all my model horses and kind of forgot about it all. But last year, when I got my AARP card in the mail, I knew for real I was middle-aged, and something came over me. I began having dreams of really beautiful horses, running wild and free, and soon I realized that I was the horse in my dreams, and I was exquisite. I was physically powerful, had all this intuition, and oh my God, I could run like the wind. Well, after months and months of these running dreams, one day I just decided, what the heck, I'm going to run. So I bought running shoes on my way home from work, and I laced them on, and I started to run, and oh my God, I was exhausted by the end of the first block. But then I remembered that I could run in my dreams if I were a horse. So I pranced in place a couple times and blew like a horse, you know. And oh my God, all this power surged into my body. I took off like the starting gate had flung open. I ran that night for more than an hour. I don't know how that worked, but this body that hadn't had a lick of exercise in 30 years just ate up the miles. It's like my lungs were 3 times their size and my thighs were made of muscle. Here's what's even crazier. I wasn't sore the next day, or the day after that, or the day after that. It's like I was born to run and I never knew it. Now, if I don't become a horse, I still can barely make it to the grocery at the corner. But if I tune into this inner horseness, I can run forever. The only problem is the requirements for becoming a horse are getting more and more extreme. While at first I could just toss my head and snort, now I have to get more and more horsey in order to access it. And I'm signed up for an ultra marathon, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep my horse connection. So I keep these molasses horse snacks in my desk at work. I start downing them an hour before I leave. And I have to eat mounds and mounds of greens. They made a special policy at the company's salad bar because I could clean it out in one sweep. So now I buy bags and bags of vegetables, and I down them before and after work. Well, you can imagine how much I visit the bathroom with all that fiber in my diet. But it's getting to where that's all I can eat. I try eating meat and dairy, and my insides twist up in pain. I'm on the floor squirming. They have to walk me until it subsides. I started sleeping standing up. I just lock my knees, drop my head, and it's no problem. I prefer sleeping outside, weather permitting. My neighbors have quit calling the police now that they know it's just me out there standing and sleeping. My friends say I've gotten a little spooky lately. I mean, I'm shy at yappy little dogs or plastic bags blowing down the street. But doesn't that make sense? You never know what could be danger. You've got to be ready to run at any moment. That's why I gave away all my high heels. If I can't run in them, I won't wear them. I'm dating again. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's not the man who drives the carriage in the park, it's his horse. A very handsome Bay Morgan. And he's hung like a, well, obviously. Oh, I know he's a gelding, but it's too late for me to have kids anyhow. Now I walk next to him at my lunch hour, and it's very clear by the way he whinnies that he has a crush on me as well. The calculations at work are getting more and more difficult, but other things are becoming available. I can smell when my computer is about to crash. And I knew about the merger the day it entered the CEO's mind. I feel what people are thinking. You think I'm crazy. Well, this time your laughter won't stop me. This time I'm not 14. It's not make-believe. Watch me run. The show's in 40 minutes. This is my third shot at the National Five-Gated Championships, and I do not want to lose this opportunity. Cinder is a great saddlebred. She's by wing commander out of CSIN, but this is her last championship show, whether we win or not. A 16-year-old horse is like a 50-year-old woman. She's not going to hold her looks or performance another year. I hope James is doing everything to get Cinder ready. I will not have time to redo his work this time. Ugh. These have been coming in for the last 10 years. I told James to pull all the white hairs out of Cinder's tail. I will not be seen on the old gray mare, thank you very much. Cinder's tail is the biggest project of all the prep. It's been braided up since the last show, so it'll be an afro today when James combs it out. James has to wet it down and finger comb out the kinks. We can't even use a brush on it anymore. The hair is so brittle, and we lose enough of it when we tie in the extensions. By the time I get down to the barn, James will have sprayed it with show sheen to keep it shiny and dust resistant. Then he'll loop it into a gentle knot to keep it from getting dirty. James stands right at the ring entrance and lets that tail down just before we stride out. That is one expensive tail. But I want it to flow and sweep the floor, and we have to do whatever it takes. One good thing about Wilson divorcing me last year is I no longer have to listen to him complain about the grooming costs. Of Cinder, that is. He didn't mind my grooming costs until I no longer met his requirements. That 23-year-old from his Belgium subsidiary seems to meet them just fine. Enough for him to get her pregnant. Damn little bitch. He and I could have tried harder if he wanted kids that badly. Last night, I pulled out all the hairs from Cinder's mane that were over 6 inches long. It's much more natural to pluck them than trim it into a too crisp line. Then I trimmed the whiskers around her muzzle and eyes. She looks all neat and tidy now. James will put black-tinted petroleum jelly around Cinder's black eyes. Makes them look 3 times bigger and more intelligent. The jelly is kinder to the horse than the boot polish we used back in the old days when Cinder was so young and green. Then he'll put clear petroleum jelly around her white mouth, so she looks polished and shiny. Last night, I sanded Cinder's hooves with steel wool. Once they were smooth, I sealed them with clear polish. Today, James will dust them, then put black polish on the 3 black hooves and clear polish on the white one. I even found the perfect gunmetal color to paint around the thin metal edge of her shoe. Please, God, just 2 hours without a hot flash. Cinder's low tail is her worst conformation flaw. We've been putting ginger under it for years, so she holds it high and pretty. But this time I told James to use the hard stuff, chili pepper in her anus. I should have had her tail broken and reset years ago. Would save me training it in a tail set between every show. I'm sure she gets tired of that metal thing against her body all the time. This year I noticed Sinja getting a little fat. I can't have that, not if we're to win the nationals. So I reduced her feed by 5% just to be sure. Better to have her too lean. I want to see every muscle. No reason to let up on that just because she's 16. I've lost 8 pounds since the divorce now that I'm on the market again. I've had such problems with Sinja's feet lately. I had the farrier raise the extensions on her front hooves, these wedges of rubber and leather that raise her front end and put the weight on her back legs. That leaves her front legs free to step high. Every year, the standard for the big trot gets higher and higher. I keep raising her shoes, but it's starting to deform her hocks. It's what we have to do, though, to get that championship trot. It's too bad those shoes have to stay on all show season. I know the relief I feel when I kick off high heels after the Wellesley charity ball. Oh, I'm getting nervous. Where's my kava kava? Oh, it helps with my performance anxiety. Early this morning, I gave Sinja her chill pill. It's Calmex, the equivalent of Valium. She gets just as discombobulated as I do under all the pressure. Supposedly, it's hard on her liver, but I've given it to her for years, and she's fine. It's too bad that age is catching up with Sinja. She's been a good horse, but I'm going to have to trade her in for a younger, fresher one. It's too bad they don't just stay pretty, so you can have a mature animal and still look good. All that training and experience down the drain, just because she's aging. She'll probably live well into her 20s, but she'll be worthless to me. I'll have to sell her to raise money for my next horse. Alimony's not going to last forever. I need them young, and I need them pretty. That's just the way it is. A herd of humans, there's that smell. Chemicals, dyes, and the sour scent of meat eaters. No one here's trying to catch me, though. I can tell by the feel. That one's warm and big. Her kindness reaches all the way over here. That guy's nervous. He smells sharp. Someone down here has a male dog. And that one's not really here. He's about 4 miles away. Where do they go when they're like that? They're not dead, but they're not that alive either. They stay so still. Whenever they bend themselves in half like that, they stay in one place forever. I don't have to stay still. It's so good to run and buck and feel things. Most of the humans pretend they're not feeling things. It gives them a stiffness I can sense from across the pasture. They might be showing their teeth and talking all smooth, but inside they're twisting up. Makes me nervous. Like that angry girl who rides me every week. She's all obedient to the instructor on the outside, but terrifying when she has a metal bar in your mouth. She pulls so hard. Doesn't she know I can feel every twitch of rein? And she sits so far back, it makes it hard to trot. Can't she feel that? Even though they've been riding me for 3 years, I'm still nervous about letting carnivores cling to my back. You never know when they could scrape you with their claws. There they sit in the one place I can't see them. Most of them slap my rump and yell, "Ha!" to get me to move. I know they want me to move before they do. Most are like dead weight on my back. Except for that Trembly girl. When she rides, she moves right with me. She hardly needs the reins. I get her signals by the tilt of her head and the way she leans. I take good care of her. Like all the humans, she's very weak. Their skin and bones would break with one kick. And they're unbearably slow. It would help if they'd use all 4 legs. But they like to have those front 2 snaking out and pulling things toward them. I guess they have to. Their necks are so short they can't get close to anything. Especially down low where all the smells are. It must be very dull. Their hearing is so bad I can walk right up to one and they don't even know it. And they can only see what's straight in front of themselves. They wouldn't know danger till it knocked them over the head. They wouldn't last a day in the herd. Maybe that's why they don't touch each other. They keep a lot of space between themselves and only use eyes and voice to connect. They waste everything else that's going on, like smell and vibration and intuition. Even when one of them is feeling bad inside, they don't nuzzle and sigh and lean. The one who's feeling bad acts like nothing's happening, and the other humans pretend nothing's going on, and the only ones in touch are the horses. I don't know how the humans make it. They have no instinct whatsoever. I smell good grass. Cattles. I have to keep you together, otherwise you might get ate by wolves. I pretend my dog Rugby is the wolf, which means I need to shoot him a lot. There's the wolf right now. I got him. I'm a really good shot. But my dog Rugby's not that good a wolf because he doesn't really know he is the wolf. I'm kind of tired because I've been riding horse all day. I have to go in when the streetlights come on. My mom says I have a vivid imagination. I think that means I know a lot about horses. I read a whole Black Stallion book, and I rode a horse twice when we were in Yellowstone. I wore my boots. It's starting to get dark, and I'm a little worried about mountain lions. They're worst enemy than the wolves because they sneak up on the herd really quiet, and they're hard to hit. My closest mountain lion is the cat that lives under Hilger's bushes. But he's not that good a mountain lion because he just goes meow instead of roar. If there's no wolves or mountain lions, there's not really that much for a cowboy to do. So I play my guitar. I wrote a song. It goes like this. Oh, Brownie's my pony. Out here is kind of lonely. I better be careful. That could call wolves. Usually I play with my friends Sheila and Mindy because they both have horses too. Sheila's horse is Bucky, and Mindy keeps changing the name of her horse, so it's hard to remember. I don't think she's very vivid. Sometimes the boys want to play ranch with us too, and we let them, but it just ends up turning into a war, and we shoot each other. Then I always take care of their cattle, or they'd get in everybody's garden. There's my sister Cheryl. She's 14. All she does is mope around about boys and try on makeup. This is Cheryl. Hi, Donald. Will you carry my backpack? It's too heavy. Oh, that is so dumb. I know she can carry it. She throws me out of her room all the time, and Mom says I weigh 65 pounds. Oh. Older girls don't do anything. They just sit around and talk and watch boys play sports. Then they wash their hair 100 times a day, even though they don't do nothing to get it dirty. And spray Confixer elixir in it till they smell like a fake fruit factory. She puts deodorant under her arms. Here's what I do under my arms. It's supposed to make a fart sound. I like the smell of Brownie's manure better than all their girl gunk. Oh, he's pooping right now. I wish it was real. I would put some in Cheryl's bed. My other friends besides Sheila and Mindy just want to play with Barbie dolls. It's so dumb. Why would I play with a doll that walks like this? Her legs only go straight forward and back. She can't even ride a horse. Plus, those girls are afraid of Anderson's field. They'll only play on people's yards. I keep telling them there's nothing to be afraid of. I even have to pretend there are rattlesnakes. There's one right now, and he's rattling. I'm gonna grab him behind the neck and roast him up for supper. Yeah, I've ate rattlesnake 100 times, and it don't taste nothing like chicken. I decided I'm not starting 3rd grade without a pony. My parents have said no every year for my birthday, but now I have my own money. From taking care of people's dogs and helping Mrs. Strongren. I have $318.50. That'll be enough for a pony. Plus, next year I could get a paper route to help pay for him. Oh, I could even ride my pony on my paper route. That would be so cool. Woo! Woo! I'm gonna tell Mom and Dad they don't have to give me any more birthday or Christmas presents for the rest of my life. That'll help. Plus, I think a pony would be very educational. I maybe don't even need to go to 3rd grade if I have a pony. There goes my dad. He's going to bury that carp in the garden to help the beans. I learned about that in school. Squinto the Indian helped the pilgrims plant fishes by the corns. Oh, maybe my dad is an Indian. That would be so cool. Then he would want me to have a pony. And when I'm not using it on my paper route, he could hunt buffaloes, as is the way of his people. There's the street lights. I have to go in. I'm going to get my money tonight and ask Mom and Dad. I think they'll be vivid enough to say yes this time. Come on, Brownie! Woo! Yoo-hoo! Nothing but blue skies from now on. There is so much to love about being with a horse. Like leaning against that big flank, the warm, damp heat, and the thunking of that big heart. Or riding one full speed. Oh, it's just the best. Galloping across the plains, hooves sounding like kettle drums, mountains in the distance. You feel so alive, so happy to have a body. I felt that the last time I rode. I was at my uncle's ranch in Montana where I learned to ride as a kid. It was summer. I was just taking a break from the city. He said I could ride any of his horses that I wanted, even join them on a roundup to vaccinate some cattle. The only horse he said not to ride was Monjo, that buckskin alone in a corral. The horse hadn't been ridden all summer and was supposedly pretty cantankerous. Well, do you think I'm going to choose some polite horse that walks around like a pony ride? I don't think so. I decided to ride Monjo, just play around on him in the corral. When I got in there with him, he was everything I love about horses. Frisky, muscly, kind of half tame, half wild. He let me come up to him, though, and from there I climbed the fence and slid onto his bare back. Oh, there is nothing like sitting a horse bareback. You feel every twitch of nerve. It's like you become another muscle in that horse's body. You have to know what you're doing, too. I mean, there's no stirrups to brace against or saddle to hold on to. I rode bareback all the time as a kid. That's all we ever did. Oh, it was so great to be back up on a horse. I just sat there for a minute, up so high, I could see another set of peaks beyond the front range. And the hot sun, his warm, damp heat, and that tangy horse smell. Well, then I tapped him with my heels, thinking we'd start to walk, and he just bucketed out from under me. I mean, I'd been thrown before tons of times as a kid, but this came out of nowhere. We weren't even moving yet. I remember flying through the air, weightless. It was kind of cool. And then crack, my head hit the post of the corral. From there, there's not that much to tell. I went from having this sensing, alive body to being trapped and immobile in it. I guess it was a few weeks in intensive care with tubes and drains and stuff. It was like I was dead already. Not one whiff of fresh air, not one photon of sunshine, just a white antiseptic blank that was supposed to heal me, reduce the swelling in my brain, link me back to consciousness. Whatever. I wish I had died the minute my head hit the post, instead of weeks later, all shrunken and white. Well, now that I've died, I can ride anytime I want. I just imagine it up and I can have anything. I wish I had known that the whole time I was alive. If I could dream it, I could create it. There actually were no limits. But I couldn't see that whole picture while I was alive. Really, hardly anybody can while they're in it. Now that I've died, there's no grief or angst or that ropey feeling they make in your body. Well, there isn't really a body either. I dreamed this one up so I could come talk to you. It's all right. I'm pretty comfy in it. I'm just glad I'm not stuck in it till it falls apart. It's hard now to imagine being pinned down to a physical life again. This heavy drag of gravity and the thick air you have to keep drinking. It's weird. And how every pleasure has a pain at the bottom of it, like enjoying a great meal and knowing plants and animals die for every bite. Or how at any moment it can all end crack in an instant. How harsh is that? And how exquisite. I remember getting so numbingly cold that my hands couldn't even do my bootlaces, or the agonizing bliss of a hot shower, or that smell of freshly ground coffee beans, God, or that soft, solid push of another body. There's a little heaven on earth, if you choose it. Heaven was riding Monjo, those 5 seconds of crystal awareness. Heaven was flying through the air, weightless. Heaven was even crack. I don't expect you to understand. From where you sit, that looks like a violent event that ripped a hole in the life of everyone I knew. But I'd do it again. I would do it again.